Are we about ready, Rob? Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll try something new. We'll try to start on time for a change. But we have a habit of not quite making it on time, but we're doing our best. My wife has been my co-person forever, but she's manning the door out there in case anyone else shows up. But anyway, welcome to, and I have to be really careful about this, 37 years of saying District 12, District 203 Speakers Bureau, the second meeting, the second official meeting of the new expanded district. And we are trying to reach out and stretch out our hands to the members of the people that are now encompassed in this twice as big a district as we were up until now for the last few years. But welcome everyone to District 203 Speakers Bureau. We have an excellent program for you. We have 3 speakers, and in that philosophy of reaching out, we have invited our first speaker will be our very first speaker from the expanded 203. So I will get to his introduction in a moment, but I have to, my obligatory thanks goes to Rob, who is our technology person in the back, for helping us put this on. Without that, we would be talking to ourselves in a closet somewhere. And and to Sharon Kenty for helping us to put the publicity out, for the VA hospital for providing us this excellent facility, and also to the district for allowing us to continue and to participate. It's good to see a few in the audience, and I see that a couple of faces I don't recognize, and so that's good. The more new faces, if you like what you see, don't forget to tell your friends to be here again next month, always on the first Wednesday, and always at 7 p.m. and always until 9. That's approximate. But anyway, we try to do that. We have, as I said, an excellent program. My wife will be in here in a minute. We're going to talk about some of the programs in between our speakers, but we do want to get started right away with our very first speaker. And let me get to his introduction, make sure I get every word of it right. I just arranged for this right. We just saw him at Past District Governors Club just this past week or two. Jesse's Toastmasters journey began in 1995 when he was a civil engineering student at UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, via the Speechcraft program. There's an advertisement for Speechcraft. If you've not done that, you need to work on that to help enhance your clubs. In 2002, he joined his home Toastmaster club, Star Masters Toastmasters. From 2005 to 2024, his service has included being a select area governor, President's Distinguished Division Governor, District 33 District Governor, Regional Advisor, and most recently, International Director serving Southwest Nevada, California, Oregon, and the Hawaiian communities. Fellow Toastmasters and happy people, we're going to let the unhappy people be here too, it's okay. Without any further delay, please help me welcome with a warm round of applause for our past International Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Jesse Oakley III, and his title, Knockdown 7. Knockdown 7, Jesse Oakley III.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and it is great to be here at the Speakers Bureau, and I am hopefully get a chance to get some wise words of wisdom on behalf of the fellow Toastmasters, your brothers and sisters in District 203, here in Southern Nevada as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is truly fantastic to actually be here. And with that being said, let's get started. As Toastmasters, we have experienced many fall down moments, whether it is as speakers, whether it is as leaders, and whether it is as Toastmasters. One way or another, we managed to find a way to fall down. I am a past international director, as mentioned in the introduction. And guess what? I still fall down on different occasions, whether I'm giving a speech, whether I am doing some leadership work that didn't go well, or whether I'm doing anything here around the house, along with a fellow spouse, Mrs. Dana Wall Oakley. Ain't that right, honey?
Yes, dear.
Exactly. So there are times where we have those fall down moments. And the quick question about the fall down moment is, after the fall, what do we do? When we're sitting on the floor or on the ground and we just experienced our latest fall, what could there possibly be done after falling down to the floor? Newsflash, you have 2 options on what to do after you fall down. You can either stay down, be low, feel sorry for yourself, have your own pity party, have your own violins in the background, or you can actually do what some people will actually do, is just get up. And it is always important to actually realize not only what happens to you, but how will you react to the situation. And again, these two choices that you have to make. After the fall, you have to ask yourself, would you stay down or would you get up? In the wise words of classical musician James Brown, well, before James Brown, you have this following quote: you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. And in the wise words of that classical, wonderful musician, the Godfather of Soul, James Brown, you have to get on up. Get on up. That's right. Get on up. You have to get on up to actually after each fall. And there's a different type of art form in getting on up after we fall. And I will explain to you the different reasons on why one should get on up after they fall down. Why get up? Some people keep asking this question when they're on the ground. Why in the world do I get up after falling down 7 times, after falling down 17 times, or in my case, after falling down 77 times? That is right, 77 times. I fell on my legs, I fell on my hands, I fell on my rear end, I fell on many parts of my body 77 times. But each time after I fall down, I manage to get up. And I keep asking myself, why in every strawberry's name would I even want to get up? Well, the key thing about why there's a need to get up is, one, staying down can make a temporary event into a permanent identity. Yes, there's certain times where I've been in situations where I was a keynote speaker and I did not have the best experience of one of the keynote speeches, and I was there falling down and feeling down, and it was an internal moment where you actually stay down and you actually kind of feel sorry for yourself. And the key part about that is when you stay down in that format and that mindset, it's all in the mind and it's all in the heart of what you do when you are down. And the key thing is you may stay down, but you don't have to stay down forever. Another reason why you need to get up is the fall is just a moment. It is that. It is a moment. And you have a choice to actually make after you fall down. The fall down is a moment. The choice to stay down is what defeats you. And if you choose to stay down, feel sorry for yourself, have a pity party, have the blues, have every type of sad moment you can think of, that is on you. That is your choice to actually stay down. But guess what? You also have the power, and like James Brown says, to get on up. And when you get on up, every recovery that you get up, actually, guess what? You build strength, you build armor, you build power, you build that gumption to actually get up after each fall. And the more you fall down, the more you get up, guess what? The stronger you are as a person. And in that case, after you fall down, you can get up. So get on up. Get on up now. There's also another question of the why. Another question you have to ask is how to get up. Now, as an experienced person who fell down 77 plus times, I can tell you how I get up. And after each fall, I do the following 4 steps. First, I pause after the fall. And then after the fall, after pausing, realizing where I am, I just look around, look left, look right, look up, look down, look around me, and basically look at the environment that I'm in. Whether there are people in front of me or no people in front of me, I always have to look around and actually ask myself, was the fall that hard? Was it painful? It may be, it maybe not. But the key thing is I look around the environment and do my best to actually do the next step. Stand up. Now, the strong people versus the not so strong people, they do this key thing, and that is to stand up after the fall. It may take a while. First, you may start with your legs. Then you may start with your hands. And then you crouch up, and then you do your best to stand up the best way possible. And guess what? After you stand up, you have the power. You actually have the power to do the next step. And after standing up, is to move forward. And when you move forward, You basically tell people that I may have fallen, but I can get up and I can move forward. And there'll be some people that may take some time to actually get up. And you know what? That's okay. As long as you're able to get up and move forward, that is the main thing that one needs to do after taking a fall. And whether it's inside Toastmasters, outside Toastmasters, in work or in life in general, after the fall, it's always best to do your best to get up the best way you know how. Okay. We already went through the hows, we already went through the whys, and what is the when to get up? Now, what's a good time to get up? Is it a good time to get up somewhere in the past? Is it a good time to get up one day in the future? When is a good time to get up? Well, newsflash, I have a three-letter word for you. It starts with an N, ends with a W, and there's O in the middle. And when to get up? Right now. If you happen to be falling on the floor and on the ground and you're basically looking where you are right now, the best time to actually get up is right now. And if you realize that now is the time to get up, that's what, like Nike, you just do it. You just get up the best way you know how. Whether you need some assistance or non-assistance, the best time to get up is always N-O-W, now. You can't go backwards in time. You can't go forwards in time. What better present time than right now? Because right now, you have that moment to actually move forward and get up the best way you know how. Like James Brown says, get on up. And in the words of Van Halen, right now. Now is the time to do what you can do. So get on up right now. And why now? So many people wait for that perfect moment to get up at the different times and different periods. Newsflash, the only perfect moment is when you actually do something. Actually, when you get up right now. People may think of perfect moments as when the weather hits, or when I have this much money, or when I get this idea going on in my head, or when I do whatever I possibly can to do. The perfect time, there's no perfect moment. Sometimes you just have to get up right now and just make your own perfect moment. Don't wait for the perfect moment in the outside, the surrounding you, to happen for you. The perfect moment happens inside of you. And the perfect moment will happen once you get up right here, right now. Next, on why now, action creates motivation. Now, let me repeat that one more time. Action creates motivation. Whether it is one giant step or one of those small baby steps that you do have, any type of action can create any type of motivation. The more you step, the more you go forward, the more that you go into action, guess what? Your confidence grows, your heart grows, your courage grows. Everything grows all within that perfect action, because you create the action and you are there at the moment. So you don't have to wait for a confidence. You don't have to wait for the outside activity to happen. The best time to actually focus on your actions, the best person to actually do that is a person you see in the mirror, because it's up to you. You're responsible for the actions. You're accountable for the actions, and it creates many motivations. So you don't have to wait for any type of confidence. You have to make it happen. You have to get up and get moving. And another reason why you have to have the now is it inspires other people. You never know who could be watching right here, right now. People could watch you fall. They can watch you fall any given moment at any given time, whether it's inside or outside of Toastmasters. But the key thing about this is when you get up, the question is, who are you getting up? Who is watching you? If you have people that watch you after each fall, and they've seen how nasty the fall can be, and they see how much you get up after each fall, they are inspired by what they do. And not only inspires, but if you're even by yourself and you fall down, you get up and you inspire yourself, and you tell yourself, wow, this is fantastic. I didn't know that had this in me. So when you actually fall down and get up, you never know who you're going to inspire. So inspiration is a key thing in getting up right here, right now. And another question I have to ask you is, who to get up? We already know the hows. We already got the whys. We already got the whens. And the next question is who to actually get up. The key thing about who to get up is the following. The who to get up is, as I mentioned earlier before, is you never know who you'll inspire. You getting up can inspire more people to get up. Each of us have a different story. We have had our moments where we've been in a downward spiral. We had our moments where we've been in a rut, or we've been in a funk, or we've been in some type of dire needs and situations. And the key thing about that is, once you get up, you have a story to tell. And once you tell your story about how you got up after your own fall, guess what? You never know who you'll be able to inspire, or you'll be able to meet people and say, hey, I fell down myself too, and I got up as well. You have other people that are feeling inspired about getting up after you take the fall. And as I mentioned before, it's the people that's involved. So if you know anyone that's taking a fall, it's their choice on whether to stay down or get up. And it's your choice. And I got to tell you, through personal experience, the stronger people, the active people, and the action people, and everybody else that's out there that's been successful many times over, they are able to get up. We have seen many stories about different inventors and different people who have been in politics and different people who tried out for world champion public speaking over and over and over again. And they tried many times, and there have been many times they fell down. But the key part about that is they're able to get up. They're able to have that one more moment, is one more, one more, one more. As the wise late world champion public speaker Dana Lamont used to say, there's always that one more that you have to get inside of you in order to get up. And of course, more people getting up leads to a strong network. I love this organization of Toastmasters because each Toastmaster that's here has a story about their down moments and how they got up from their down moments and how they been able to overcome their challenges. And I think that the Toastmasters that are here right now, whether they're in Nevada or in California or anywhere around the world, they're true inspirations. And I got to tell you, you as Toastmasters, you're strong people and you're strong networks. And that is why I've been in Toastmasters for 24 plus years in this organization, because Toastmasters here, whether it be in 203, 202, 201, Founders, or anywhere else, y'all rock big time. And guess what? A strong network leads to strong results. And when we have those strong results that are there, no, strong results don't happen overnight. It takes a strong dedication. It takes strong commitment. It takes strong gumption. It takes strong power and ability for everybody to get up and be who they can actually be. So when you have that strong network leading to strong results, guess what? You'll be inspiring a whole bunch of people all over the world with what you do have for your strong network and the leadership leading to strong results. What is there to say? To sum it up, right here, right now, whenever you fall down, you have a choice to make. That's right. The person you see in the mirror, in the words of Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror, that's the person that's got to make a change. The key part about that is, are you going to stay down on the ground and wait for that perfect moment to arrive? Or are you going to make that perfect moment and stand up? The fall, many times experience, the fall is guaranteed. The rising up is all up to you, the members of Toastmasters, and it is up to you to make that decision. And in the cartoon of He-Man, you have the power. As my dog agrees with me, you have the power to stand up. And my dog agrees with me. If my dog agrees with me, I know I'm doing a pretty good part about this speech. But the key part about this is the fall is guaranteed. The rise is up to you. So fellow Toastmasters, fellow speakers, fellow leaders, the next time you fall down, are you going to stay in the ground? Are you going to bark up a storm like my dog's doing right now? Or are you going to get up? The power, the choice, and the decision is up to you. Next slide, please. You can get up. Look at it. If anything else, remember these following 4 words. If there is doubt, if there is a cloud over your head, if there's any type of down moment that you're facing right here at the moment, remember those following 4 words. You can get up. And if you really feel festive about it, think about James Brown and get on up. Get on up. Get on up. Ha! You can get on up. All you have to do is just get up, and guess what? You'll feel good, like you know that you should. Man, I love James Brown. This concludes this part of the speech. And again, I really appreciate the time being here at this wonderful Speakers Bureau. My name is, for people that are in the back, allow me to introduce myself again. My name is Jesse, Jesse, Oakley, Oakley, the third III, and I am the past international director. And you can actually, if you want more information about me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or on Instagram, or you can reach out to different types of clubs I belong to, especially that wonderful Club 407, the Pastors, Governors, Directors Club, or just anywhere else, because we're all in the same district, we're all together, and it has been a pleasure to actually be here. So on behalf of yours truly, and my dog that's right here, and my wife, we say, she says hello, we say thank you very much, and I'll give the floor back to Tom. Tom, it is up to you.
Okay, thank you. Yes. I really want to thank you for being here. I appreciate that. I hope there's a few people in the audience who may not have heard you before, got a chance to hear you, but we can't end that speech without asking everyone in the audience to just get up. We don't want you to get up and leave. Just get up, stand up. Everybody just stand up if you're able. Well, it'd be good to do that. Catch a little breath. Okay. All right. See, that's inspired our audience to stand up a little bit. Okay. Now you can go back to sit down. I've decided we have 3 speakers, and we'll try maybe put a little commercial in between each speech. That's what they do on TV. It seems to work. So Connie's going to give us a little commercial, especially for those who are not familiar with District 12 Speakers Bureau, and some of those that haven't been to every one of our meetings. And by the way, if you've missed any meetings, look up District 12 Speakers Bureau on YouTube, and you'll see past events. And of course, in the future, I think it'll be under District 203 Speakers Bureau. So anyone who you want to make sure who hears tonight's program, it should be listed in a few days probably as District 203 Speakers Bureau. But a little bit of past history. But Connie will talk a little bit. My wife is a former chair of Speakers Bureau a number of years ago and a 47-year Toastmaster. So go ahead and tell them a little commercial. Don't leave the room, please.
Well, it was nice to get to see you, Jesse, and hear you speak. Yeah, Tom asked me to get on up, so here I am, and to share a little bit about Speakers Bureau. Sometimes our Speakers Bureau meetings are devoted to people seeking the qualified speaker designation. And sometimes we have the longer presentations, such as we're having this evening with 3 very fine speakers sharing with us. But other times we have, I guess you'd call them theme meetings. And those I have found to be very enjoyable. We have individuals giving speeches on a certain theme. They might be qualified speakers or they might not. And some of the ones that I particularly enjoyed, we had World Culture Day when we had, and I think each time we did this, we would have maybe 15 or more speakers talking about their backgrounds of different cultures coming from different parts of the world and different traditions and so forth in their lives. Another one around Mother's Day, we had what else but mothers, and then followed up by fathers. And I'll share one more, Tom, and that is something we did fairly recently, and it was why I joined Toastmasters and why I continue to belong. And that I found to be very interesting, the backgrounds of individuals and how they come to Toastmasters organization and why they continue to belong to this fine organization. I don't know if Tom wants me to share any more, or we'll do another little one more. Well, let's see. Another one I recall is about school stories. And it could be the school stories of the students or the school stories of the instructors or principals or anything related to school. And that, again, was a meeting in which many people had the opportunity to share with the audience their own particular experiences either way, way back or more recently having to do with education and schooling. So now I give conduct of this meeting to Tom, who is looking for his introduction. I'll just put a little plug in. We have more to share, but also if you have ideas, you here in person or you online, ideas for meetings that we might have that would be the so-called theme meetings, right? Our qualified speakers and other people in our Toastmasters organization to share something perhaps we haven't tried before, or something that you might like to see us redo with a new group of speakers. Please let Tom know so that we can take action on that. Here you go, Tom.
Okay, we're ready to take over next, and we'll have another, don't go way too far, we'll have another commercial later on. But anyway, and she mentioned qualifying. There's you probably won't ever be able to see that. Or maybe someone in the audience has a QS pen they can show on their screen so that others can see it. But we have gotten the okay that they'll have a new pin for District 203 for qualified speakers. And you, in the flyer that goes out, and should go out to everyone in the entire district about what it takes to become qualified. So that's something to look into if you're interested. It takes a few meetings in attendance, but that's what it is. Our next speaker, and he didn't put this introduction, so I'll brag about him a little bit. He is a qualified speaker both in District 100 and in District 12, and now District 203 and 202, if I got those right. And a winner and a former Speakers Bureau chair from District 100. A winner of district evaluation and table topics competition, Founders District 207, 208 Division E Toastmaster of the Year, past District 100 Director, qualified speaker, and former District 12 and 100 Founders District and District 100 Chief Judge, 42 years in Toastmasters. And the title of his speech, You're Being Watched. I'm going to be careful. You're Being Watched, David Flores. David, come on down.
Should work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker's Chair, Liberty Chair. Good evening, everybody. There is a phenomenon going on now that everybody's aware of, and you probably heard of the terms being said. Data centers. Quite a controversy going on now. The data centers now they're talking about are these large conglomerate areas. They take up acres of property where they put in these servers and they collect all the data that exist within our digital world. There's quite a bit of controversy. Some people aren't aware of what's going on, but a lot of the complaints you hear about the data centers is this constant whirling sounds of these air conditioning units that are on these large buildings running 24/7. So the local neighbors seem to complain about the idea of this constant noise. And some of the other ones are environmental. They talk about the fact that these data centers utilize millions and millions of gallons of water to keep these coolers running 24/7. They say that they use enough water that a more small city would use. Then the next controversy is they talk about the amount of electricity. These data centers utilize the same amount of electricity as a small town uses. So people are really upset about this whole idea of what these data centers are and what they're doing and the effects they have maybe on the environment, maybe on the local area as such. But myself, I'm not really concerned about that. My concern really is whose data and what data is being collected. All that digital information that's being utilized these days is being stored in these data centers. It's gotten to the point that there's actually a new industry. They call data brokers. So somebody's making money off all this data. And all this data is who? Think about it. If you join a store, the local store, you become a membership, and you go to the check stand and you buy all these particular products, and all that product is stored in the system, that's data on you, on what you buy in the store. Even if you don't have a membership in a store, just go into a store, purchasing something, using your credit card, all that data gets stored, that you were at that store, and these are all the items that you bought. And you might say, what's the harm in that? Well, as a data broker, you might say, I want to talk to the insurance company, the health insurance company, ask them if maybe they want to hear about one of their customers. I'm going to break down the data, provide it to them, and they're going to say, wow, this person's a pretty good person to have on our insurances, our health insurance. He eats healthy, he buys all the healthy foods, fruits and vegetables, he's great. But on the other hand, perhaps you're not. What if you're one of those kind of people that buys all the junk food, the candies, the ice cream, the beer, all the worst things you can eat for yourself, and the data broker finds that on you and supplies that to the insurance company, the health insurance company. They look at it and they go, wow, do we really want to insure this person? All behind the scenes that you're not aware of. That they could actually track you and sell that information to an insurance company, health insurance company, so they would know who would be the best prospects to insure, because they're in the business of risk. If you're too much of a risk to them, perhaps they may say, well, we can't reinsure you this year. You may have to look for a different insurance. We have to cancel you. What if you're sitting at home and you have your little monitor called Alexis or whatever it is, and you're talking to your wife and you're saying, we know we had to get around to knocking down all that brush behind our house in case if there's a fire, it could burn down our house and the neighborhood. And this little Alexa thing's listening, even though you're not talking, but it's storing data. That data gets transferred and stored somewhere. The insurance company finds out about it. They look on the map and go, yeah, they're right. They have a lot of brush there. They're nothing to do anything about it. Well, I think perhaps we need to cancel that insurance policy so we don't have to run the risk of a fire starting there and burning down their house, and we have to pay. All that data being stored there will be used against you, whether you realize it or not, because someone is watching you and what all that data represents. Now, what I find more interesting is that we are all aware for years of the so-called red light camera. You're going down the road, you don't quite make the green light, the camera flashes, you get a ticket, you pay your ticket. Okay, you violated the law. You broke a rule, you got to pay for it. Or the speed cameras, they have speed cameras in different freeways and such. If you exceed a certain speed limit, the camera will flash, take your picture. That data gets stored. Now, you may not think much about it, but it happens once or twice. What if you get another one and the data gets stored, and a data broker finds it, contacts your insurance company and says, by the way, do you know that your client now has 3 speeding tickets? And they're going, well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. We can raise his rates now. And you're thinking, how did they find out? It's all stored in a data center somewhere. Now, beyond that, I want you to think of a scenario that you might be in. You get in your car and you decide to drive around, and your car, through what's called telemetrics, a little thing inside the car that tells you everything that the car does, records everywhere you go, everywhere you stop, every time you make a right turn, a left turn, emergency stop, everything the automobile does, it's recorded and stored as data through the internet. If you try to dismantle it, you have to find the way to do it. Whenever you dismantle it and pull the fuse on it, it tells you that you can't do that. In fact, Hyundai is one of the ones who've gotten further along with it. You can't even find a way to disconnect their telemetrics. So they're keeping their car connected to the internet and storing all that information about you. So think about it. You're going down the freeway between Baker and Las Vegas with a flow of traffic at 85 miles an hour in a 65 and 70 mile an hour zone. It's being recorded. Your insurance company finds out about it. Hey, this guy's a constant speeder. You may not have gotten a ticket, but they can sit there and say, well, we've got a risk in our hand. This person speeds all over the town, or he doesn't stop. Or on top of that, the famous California roll stop. Come to a stop sign, everything's clear. Nothing in danger. So you just come to a slow crawl, then you take off again. Telemetrics records that. It sees the camera. The camera's all over these cars nowadays. Watches stop sign, sees whether you come to a complete stop or not, and then you keep on going. All recorded in a data center. Now, your phone, You have all kinds of information on your cell phone these days if you have a modern smartphone. When you step into your car, some people even connect that to their car. So now your car has all that data that's in your phone. All that data gets stored in the data center, and they have everything you've ever done and what you've done and all your contacts and all that information about you. They can record it and have a understanding who you not only who you know, who you deal with. So think about all that data that's being stored and kept there. Now, I'm going to paint a scenario for you that's recently happening. Just think about it in your own mind. You get in your car one morning and you drive off. And then you go a couple blocks and you kind of notice there's a vehicle behind you. As you're driving along, you know, in my mirror, I see that same vehicle. You've done nothing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just going about your daily business. But this vehicle is tracking you the whole time and following you. Most people would finally sit there and stop and say, wait, excuse me. Go back to, why are you following me? Oh, we just are. We're just following you. We know that doesn't happen, or does it? Because there's a new phenomenon going now called flock cameras. Cities are installing cameras all around. They're not a red light camera. They're not a speeding camera. They're a constant surveillance camera that records every vehicle, every person, anybody walking past that camera all through the towns. So it records not only who's driving, who's walking, everything about your car, not just the license plate, the color of your car. You got a scratch on the side, both license plates, every detail is recorded on that vehicle, wherever you drive and where you go. Now, what business does the government have, or anybody who has that information, and we were more spared of is the government having it? Why would they need all that information? Why do they need all that data? And on top of that, why are these brokers selling this data? Now, whose data is it? If it's your data, why are you getting a piece of the pie? If they're going to sell your data, you should be getting paid for your data. But that's not going to happen. But the more serious thing I see nowadays is the fact that they're doing it. And it's happening, and people don't seem to understand it. They're more concerned about the data center than what's being stored in the data center. Nobody ever asked, by the way, what is in that center? What's being stored there? I'd like to know. I'm sure most everybody would like to know. Is your family history locked in there too? Is your medical records locked in there too? You may say, well, they can't get my medical records because of certain reasons. Well, we've never heard of a data breach, have we? Happens all the time. There's no guarantees somebody can't get into that information. And if there's data brokers who look for that as a way to make a living, they're going to find a way to get it too. But the worst part is the fact that they're constantly being surveyed. You're being surveyed on a regular basis. You may not know it, you may not realize it, but you are. That's the part that really should be concerning to most everybody, especially here in America where we live. We as a country had the freedom to travel and go where we want when it's nobody's business what we do or what we're not doing, as long as we are not breaking the law. But now we're being watched on a 24/7 basis. These different cameras are putting up to watch where everybody goes and goes. Oftentimes they say, well, it's for safety. Law enforcement uses it to track certain criminals if they feel there's a lead. Well, I agree. There may be some useful uses for it, but do we give up our freedoms for that? That's what they're asking us to do, is to give up the freedoms that we as Americans have enjoyed for 250 years, but it's slowly being eroded through technology. All this information is being stored and kept. Now our freedoms are slowly shrinking down because people are looking at what we're doing. They're watching us, whether you realize it or not. And that's the scary part. When you're being watched for no reason whatsoever, that's no longer a free country. That's no longer America. Our forefathers talked about this years ago when they first started this country. They said there's two things you got to understand. If you want security and freedom, well, you're not going to have neither one because you can't have both. So that's the reason why I feel that people should be asking more questions about not what's being built, but what's being stored in there. And if you want something to reference to, think about it. Do we want to be like certain countries? You know who does this more than anybody else? Any other country? China. China has cameras all over. They survey all their people, walking up and down the street, in and out of stores, who they associate with, who they grew up with. They've gone to the point where every city they have is now camerized. Now they're looking to put cameras in the small villages outside the big cities so they can watch everyone 24/7. Do we want to be like China? Communist China is what that was the example of what this goes to and leads to. But if we allow it to continue without questioning it, without putting parameters on it, and without saying, we want to know exactly what's being stored, and we want to know when it can be taken away, if you can have it or not. I don't want you having my data. You have no business with it, even though you may sign certain documents and the fine print gives it away, but we need to be aware of that. We need to, as Americans, need to understand that all this technology, all these things that are being stored and kept on everybody and everything you do, everything you buy, everywhere you go, what time of the day you come and leave, all that information that's being stored should not be theirs to do whatever they feel like doing. And I see no reason why someone should be making money off of my personal life or what I do myself. If I'm not in American history, in American itself, if we are not breaking the law, the government and anyone else has no business in our business. So remember that. If you want to be like China, allow them to continue the way they're going. If you don't want to be like China, let's say right away we start to put a stop to it and start asking more questions and getting more answers from our public officials who are allowing these centers to be built in their jurisdictions without being questioned exactly what is it you're looking for and what is exactly you're getting in those data. So without that, freedoms are gone, and we will be no different than the other communist or socialist countries that exist, where you have no freedoms to do what you want to do without somebody looking over your shoulder and wondering what you're doing. Mr. Topics, Toastmaster.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, David and I go way back. We've been in that debate club. I mentioned that debate club for quite a few years. And just recently, you bring up what you just had talked about. What just recently we met a recently retired 20-year police person who was in charge of their public relations and so on. And she said opposing thoughts. She said up to 70 to 80% of all their major crimes are solved because of those cameras that he mentioned. Flock? Yeah. And she also said she wasn't so sure it was a good idea. So there's the opposing thoughts to think about. 70 to 80% of those major crimes were solved because of that information. Maybe it's not such a good idea. Anyway, with that, we have another commercial. You have some other things to mention to them? We have, I'm going to quickly, while you're coming up, I'm going to just quickly talk about one of the things. We hope that more members of the expanded district begin showing an interest in our meetings and coming to those. And we even have an opportunity for some other speakers to come in and speak because this is not in cement yet, but we have a couple of ideas for upcoming meetings. And we mentioned sometimes we do theme meetings. When she mentioned it could be as many as 15 5 to 7 minute speeches. You may not believe you can get that in 2 hours, and we pretty much did it. But there wasn't any time in between for commercials. It just had to be speaker after speaker after speaker. September, we're conjuring up the possibility. I always like to do things, even in debate club, about education. And so we may be in that debate club, we may be debating whether they should bring back the SAT scores. That's one of the possibilities for September for university entrance into the university. And then we have a speaker, I think, planning on coming in for that. But so the theme for September might be speakers, and we have a couple of people possibly in line to speak on the field of education. In October, we have past international director and co-chair Michael Ozier will be speaking. I'm expecting that we will be having the youngest QS speaker that ever acquired his QS, who acquired it at the age of 18, who will be coming back to give us his vision on education and all the levels, whether it be even attended private school, public school, charter schools, and university education, and started Toastmasters at the age of 12 or 13 in gavel clubs. And so he went on to win $5,000, I think, in a statewide contest. So he'll be our youngest QS, and he thinks he'll come in with that same topic. And I think we may have a couple of other things going on. And then in November, we're thinking about We Are Family as a theme. And we have lots of people with different family experiences. And we are toying with that idea. So those are things that might be coming up, but now you're to hear about things that have came in the past, come in the past. Get my English correct.
Thank you, Tom. I grabbed the paper because we've had so many and I didn't want to forget some. This is a meeting that probably would lend itself to this time because it's been a while since we did it. We had a speakathon in which each of the qualified speakers in our district came up and just gave a brief introduction to themselves. And so we have now new people that the audience perhaps hasn't met, or they don't know that much about these people. And the reason for doing this is qualified speakers are sent out to speak at Kiwanis or Rotary or maybe some schools. But another reason we like you to know about the qualified speakers is to tap them on the shoulders and say, hey, we're having an open house, or hey, we're having a special event. Could you come and speak and actually help the Toastmaster clubs? And now with a larger district, that would be something that would be, I think, informative and also be very helpful. Another theme that we had was Disability Awareness Month. And sitting right here in our audience was somebody who shared with us, Susanna Lee, gave an informative, inspiring, and very helpful presentation talking about how do you interact, how do you work with or interact with people who are blind. And we had Ryan Odman, who is was diagnosed as a child with autism, but is now a qualified speaker. Anyway, we had people to speak on that subject. And Tom mentioned about being in the That's Debatable Club. And we had a meeting in which we introduced the various specialty clubs that we had in our district. So we have That's Debatable for people that like to debate. We have Readers and Writers. We have Survivors and Thrivers, I think is the name of it, dedicated to health, speeches about your health and taking measures to make one healthier, or what they have gone through as far as surviving health and issues. And those are just a few more, Tom, if you want me to discuss more, or I'll leave some for you.
Right along quite well, so we'll probably get a chance to do some more later. We brought back some fond memories. So you remember what we had that one debate where, remember I said that youngest Toastmaster anyway, he had just graduated from Vanderbilt when he came in and visited our club and spoke a little bit. And then we had the debate, and then do you remember what the topic was? Because the audience picked the topic, and then the oldest Toastmaster in the room, me, at 85, and the youngest at 22 debated each other, but the audience chose which side we were on. And so we had a good old time with that. That was a lot of fun. So, okay, our next speaker, qualified speaker in both District 100 and District 12, and now 203 and 202, and a firebrand if ever, a great speaker. He's got a great story to tell, and I don't even think he's going to tell that story tonight. He's a past district runner-up at international speech contests a couple of times at least, and he is going to talk a little bit more about technology, because he's going to give us the lowdown on AI, right? Al Batinga, here you go.
Thank you. All right, my topic this evening is how to use less water so that we can satisfy our water usage. Anyways, my name is Al Batinga. I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to talk about simplifying AI. So think about this. I get calls. Hey, Al, Claude just came out with a new, latest, greatest concept. Let's go over to Claude. And so my friends would run over to Claude. And then somebody would say, Gemini just did this and that and this. And then people would run over there. And they would go all over the place. Let's simplify AI. It's like when I'm a business educator, trainer, and coach. And so I'll tell you a tiny bit about my background. So in the last few months, I've worked with the Navy, Port Hueneme. These are people who are in charge of the ships in Iraq, in Iran, going toward Iran. And so I was teaching them Gemini. Department of War has gone to Gemini as their product of choice, right? These are LLMs. Everybody here has known what LLMs are. They're ChatGPT, Gemini, and those kinds of things. So the Department of War is using Gemini. It's their ChatGPT. And if you're a Google house, Gemini is the perfect product because it's made by Google. And so Department of War is there. In the last few months, I've worked with Ellen Davis. They're one of the largest advertising agencies in Los Angeles. They represent McDonald's, they represent Toyota, companies like that. They're a 500-person marketing company, which is humongous as far as marketing companies are. They use Copilot. So I've trained about 150 of their people on Copilot. So here's Gemini, here's Copilot. And then not too long ago, I worked with Department of Sanitation, Orange County Department of Sanitation. We trained, Eric and one of my team trained over 100 people on ChatGPT. And then one of my biggest clients is in Reno, and guess what? They use Claude. So you got all these engines out there. They're all good. 80–90% of the commands work in all of them. Unless you have something specialized, they work in all of them. So here's my thought for us today. I want us to simplify. I want us to simplify. Don't overcomplicate chat and all of these concepts. Don't oversimplify AI. Don't worry about Claude developing this concept and that concept and chat developing this. Go with one. That's how you simplify, by the way. Choose one. It might be what your company does or not. Choose one and just stay with that. Stay with that. Stop jumping around. Stop moving around. It's the same overall for you and me. Now, for technology people and for people in programming, they have their druthers. But for the rest of us, just stay on one. Master one. So today what I'm going to talk about is 3 things to simplify. And at the end, if we have time, I'm going to answer any questions. If Forrest is up online. Forrest, if you can drop my email address, I'll be at Digitized Learning. And by the way, Forrest is one of my colleagues, and he knows AI very, very well himself. So if you have any follow-up questions, there's hundreds and thousands of questions out there. But I'm just going to help you simplify. So I'll tell you a little story. I have a friend. She's in prison. Her name's Christina. And I've been friends with her about 15 months. We met on the internet. And her and I talk for about 3 to 4 times a week, 30 minutes. Before I came in here, I was on the phone with her. And we've become good friends. So about 3-4 weeks ago, she said to me, Al, I know you want to write a speech on prison. I know you want to why don't you start recording my calls? And I said, wow, that's a good idea. I like that. So I got on to Apple. So I'm going to give you the steps to do this and the results of this. So I got onto my Apple phone and I put the phone on. I used one of my machines to just press the record button. And so her and I would speak. And we would talk for 30 minutes. Now at the end of it, I would press stop. And then I would say to chat, evaluate the call. And chat would come back, and it did something I did not expect. It said, Al, you're a master communicator, or you think you are. Guess what? This communication sucked. It didn't say that. I'm sharing that with you. And I said, and I'm like, what would just happen? Al, do you realize in this conversation you spoke 70% of the time, she spoke 30%? Wow, that wasn't very good. That's not a master communicator. So I paused and I said, tell me more. It said, remember when Christina said this? You could have followed up with, tell me more about that. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I think of that? So something as simple as a conversation. Think about that for a second. How many conversations do we have on a regular basis, right? How many crucial conversations do you have? How many times do you actually get to look at your conversation and say, let me pause and reflect on this conversation and see how I can actually communicate at a higher level? It struck me. I'm telling you, it gave me much more feedback. Remember when she said this? You could have said, well, how does that make you feel, Christina? You missed that, Al. You missed that opportunity. It actually berated me. Now, before I get too crazy on that, Chat knows me. I've been with it for several years. All my records are up on Chat. It has my personality assessments. I work with Chat at that level because I teach it, right? So I have to do those kind of things. It's got my medical records. The other day, I'll just veer off for a second. I said, you know, this new protein powder, is this something good that I can do? And it said, according to your blood, you've got a little bit issues on your kidneys. They have one ingredient in there that's not as good, Al. Why don't you look at this as an alternative? Think about what that means for you. I went off track here, but you can see what I'm saying. Simplify, use things that are going to be value for you. Stop jumping around. Pick one and then get to know it, get it to know you. It knows me very, very well. If I ask it, tell me what the word expression means. It said, based on you as an educator, trainer, coach, consultant, here's what the word expression means. Think about how valuable that really is. It gives me what is called context. Context is very, very important. It doesn't just give me a word. It says, based on who you are, your goals and objectives, what you're trying to do right now, here's the word in context. That's what Chat does for me. So anyways, I went through maybe 3 or 4 lines of her. And so second conversation I recorded. Okay, Al, you're getting a little bit better, but you're still talking too much. You got a 60-40 split here. Remember this, and it would actually point those conversations to me. Very helpful for me. And I'm a good communicator. I can certainly improve, and it showed me, but it was very specific. Think about that as an application. Now, you may use that application, or maybe there's other simple applications that you can utilize based on what I just said. How simple is that? So I've recorded 3 conversations with her. Every single one of those conversations gave me some very good input. So some of you have read the book, Crucial Conversations. We all have crucial conversations on a regular basis. What if you had the ability to record one of those and actually see what was actually said? You know how much misunderstanding we have? At the end, oh, you said this, and you said that, and you said this, and you said that. What if you recorded it as a practice, not necessarily everyone, but just a critical one, and you had Chat help and support your efforts moving forward? So that's one simple use. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the second one, and I'll give you the third one. The third one is going to be role play. I'm actually going to chat up here, and we're going to make some stuff up with you. You're going to get to see some of the things there. So that's number 1, okay? So use Chat, my suggestion for you, to help you communicate at the highest level. So let me tell you the most important skill for anybody, in my opinion. Number 1 skill is emotional intelligence. There's 10 skills that I think are necessary. Emotional intelligence is number 1. It is self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. Guess what? That's exactly what AI does not have. If you think about that, self-awareness, it's not self-aware. Self-managed is not self-managed. Social awareness, relationship management. In this space of AI, it's a real thing, by the way. They're in the tech sector, there's about 200,000 jobs lost. And we're talking about 10,000 from Facebook and places like that. We're talking about high-paying, productive jobs are being lost as we speak. And by the way, what that means is it's a trickle-down effect. After those types of jobs, the average was $280,000 jobs. And every one of those jobs have at least 2 or 3 jobs related to it. But it's a trickle-down effect that you'll start to see in the next year. So if you think about what's happening there, emotional intelligence is the thing that sets us apart from AI. And so our emotional intelligence, our communication skills, our body language, our emotional content construct has to rise up because AI's got all the technical stuff in there. Anything that's repetitive, that has a pattern. All AI is, in general, is a pattern recognition software. It understands patterns extremely well, like you can't even believe. So that's number one. You can think about that and play with that and email me if you have any kind of questions on that. Number two is something similar. How many meetings do we go to? When we come out of the meetings, we have misunderstandings, we have issues, we have challenges. Everybody took good notes. Well, I can tell you, I've stopped taking notes. Everybody around me has stopped taking notes. We let AI take notes. So AI sits there and we turn it on and we say, we've got a meeting coming, take notes. One of my friends who's part of our club, AJ, all 12 of his employees has a plod. It's a note taker. And every meeting they go to, it takes notes, it puts it into a central database, and they use that information. So if I were in this meeting right here, I could have turned on AI and I could say, take notes. And at the end of it, it's going to say, here's the summary of your speakers bureau in August. Here's the action items. Here's what each person needs to be doing. Here's the open items. Here's the summary for it. Anything else, Al? Yeah, I want to know what was the most controversial topic. Here's the most controversial topic. I want to know the one that's most impactful for us as a club. Here's the one. It will talk about it. Now, you may say, Al, how does it know that? Because it's gone through 100 million meetings, and it looks for patterns. So the second thing I want to recommend to you is to utilize it for your meetings. So think about going into a meeting hands-free, right? You walk into the meeting and say, well, I'm so excited the meeting. I'm not worrying about taking notes. I'm not worrying about anyone here missing anything, because what it does is it creates a transcript, verbatim. So you can look at the transcript and you can look at every word that was spoken. It will identify who spoke what. So it'll say, that's from David, that's from Suzanne, that's from Flores, that's from Al. And it will walk through because it will identify that. And it knows and it understands. How valuable is that? And at the end, it'll say, David, you got these 3 things to do by next Friday. Suzanne, you had a question about, right? And it's going through. It's invaluable as far as meetings. So I go into meetings with that concept. So I coach. I used to do venomous notes. I mean, I'm writing vehemently. Now it's nothing. And at the end, I hit that end button. It automatically generates, and it gives me the notes to work through. And I give it to everybody else. So imagine that we had that going today. And at the end, I press end, and then I send it to all of you. You get to read it, and you get to dispute it if you want. Hey, no, I didn't really say that. Well, it's there, but that's okay. Let's adjust it. Let's adapt it. Let's work on it. Let's do something with it. Okay? So that's another one. Very simple. Very simple. Non-complex. Not jumping around, looking at all this stuff, looking for latest, greatest. Just some very basic concepts. All right? All right. The third concept I want to talk about here is I'm actually going to use chat. And we're going to talk through this and leverage it, and you'll see real time on what we're doing. And I haven't got it pre-planned. I'm just going to do it with you, and you'll get to see exactly what it's doing here as we go along, okay? So hopefully the team can listen to this. Hey, chat.
Hey, Al, I'm here. What's up?
All right. We're in the role play session, and I've got a group of people here online as well as right in front of me, and I'm excited to work with them. And so we're going to do a role play. You up for it?
Oh, I'm up for it. Pick a scenario. Tense sales call, late employee, conflict with a peer, you name it. I'll match you live.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So how about let's do a quick sales call. Let's do 2 scenarios. One is the sales call. All right. So pick a scenario for a sales call. You're going to play the salesperson because I'm not sure what you're going to pick, and I'll play I'll play the opposite side. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I'm selling a training package. Value's long term, but price feels high. Okay, here we go. Hey, Jordan. I know budgets are tight, but if this could boost team performance by even 10%, what would that mean for your quarter?
Wow. Are you talking about 10% profit or are you talking about 10% gross? Give me some more detail on that.
Right, right. Think of it as output per person. Less rework, faster handoffs. Revenue impact shows up as margin, not just top line. Does that hit your world?
So that would mean probably 25% of top line profit, right? For us at least.
Exactly. If your cycle time drops, throughput rises. So what would stop you from piloting this for, say, 30 days?
Well, tell me what the cost is. So you're telling me ROI is about 10%. What would the cost, what would the outlay for this be overall?
Ballpark, mid five figures for a 30-day pilot with 12 seats. Here's why it's worth piloting. We tie metrics to cycle time and error rates. If it doesn't move the numbers, we part ways. Low drama.
Well, what's the success rate on implementation? I can tell you historically, I've seen so many software implementations as well as training implementations go wrong and get nothing out of it at the end of the year. That's my history. How can you minimize that?
Fair push. In similar rollouts, about 8 in 10 hit their target when a manager owns weekly reinforcement. Without that, it tanks. If we lock that in, risk drops. Can you own that piece?
Yeah. So tell me what I would need to do to make this work.
Two things. Quick 15-minute weekly check-in using the scorecard we give you, and calling out one process you want to change. Keep it small and visible. Can we pencil a start date?
Okay. I need a little bit more information. All right, let's pause. So give me some critique. Give me some thoughts, chat.
Straight? You did well pressing on costs and risk. Next round, ask for a clear success metric and a no-go threshold. That keeps vendors honest. Want to flip roles next?
Well, give me a couple questions I should have asked.
Sure. Try these. What's your walkaway metric? If we don't hit X by week 4, we stop. And who's accountable on your side week to week? If there's no owner, we don't start. Those force clarity and protect your downside.
All right, excellent. All right, let's do one more quick one. You're late to work 6 times. I need to have a conversation with you. Okay, so it's a work environment. All right.
All right. I'm the late employee. You open the conversation.
All right. Okay.
Hey, boss.
Go ahead.
Hey, boss. Sorry, traffic's been rough. It won't happen again.
Oh, you know what? Let's set aside about 5 minutes. You had 5 minutes right now. Let's have a chat about this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess. What's up?
So, Joe, unfortunately, you've been late about 6 times in the last month. And as you know, we have a strict policy on that. So I'd like to talk to you, maybe hear about what you have to say on that, because 6 times is it's a lot more than what I have accepted in the past. What do you think?
I know. 6 times sounds bad. Mornings have just been a mess.
Well, how come? So let me ask you this. How can we solve this? Tell me what we need to do to solve this.
Look, I've been trying to juggle a lot right now.
Okay, you're not giving me an answer though.
All right. Okay. If I adjust my start time by 30 minutes just for now and make it up at lunch, would that help? I need some time to stabilize.
Okay, so what would you need?
A temporary shift for 2 weeks. Start at 9:30, make up the time. I'll document everything.
Okay. All right, Joe, that sounds good. I like that concept. So for 2 weeks starting tomorrow, you're going to be able to come in at 9:30 instead of 9. You're going to make a little time up at lunch. You're going to document it so that we're clear. All right. As we wrap this up, I just want to say to you that I would love for you to come to me earlier on this instead of me coming after you. Don't you agree?
That's fair. I should have flagged it sooner. Thanks for being direct.
Okay. All right. Let's pause. Give us one or two thoughts, critiques on this.
Tighten the middle. You did well naming impact and setting a boundary. Next time, state the impact in one sentence early, then ask for the ask sooner. I did this, here's what I propose. Keep it crisp, keep it human, then confirm the follow-up.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. On this right here, by the way, it's all textualized too. So I can go back and I can look at the text of this. So if you think about what we've done, right? So I just want to use it from a simple perspective. These are three things that I use that is very base, nothing fancy, but yet it helps improve my communication skills at the next level. And so let's review. So number one is you can look at conversations. You notice all of the ones I picked are on communication intentionally, right? Because we're all communicators, Toastmasters, speakers bureaus, and guests. And so if you think about that crucial conversation that you can utilize chat or Copilot or Claude to extract information where you can do better, where I can do better, where we can do better. And by the way, some of these tools they should be using in high school because it's a great tool to utilize. And then number two, what was number two, anybody? Go ahead.
You was talking to chat.
Okay.
You're talking to chat about business.
Okay, good. Meetings. So when you go to meetings, use chat and just say, chat, take notes. And by the way, you can pre or post. What do I mean? I can click on it and say, chat, we're going to do a meeting on sales. Take notes, extensive notes on this, and look for A, B, C. I can do that. Or I can do it after the fact. Right? And last but not least, use it for role plays. I'm going to have a crucial conversation with my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, my coach, my mentor, my club leader. And it's a conversation that's a little tough. I'm going to utilize chat to role play. Think about how many times do we actually role play our conversations. Anyways, let me wrap up with AI is here to stay, despite the water usage. Okay, AI is here to stay. There needs to be boundaries, but the fear is, I'll give you the thought on the fear, is that if we put boundaries on it and China doesn't put boundaries on it, then we'll be behind. That's the thing behind the scenes that we don't talk about. And Russia will be ahead of us, and Spain will be ahead of us, because none of those countries will put boundaries on it. They're hard at work developing. So there's some issues there. But anyways, we're not going to solve that. We need boundaries. We need it is a powerful tool. And so don't be afraid of it. Embrace it, but use it for the simplest things that you can, even simpler than what I gave you. Utilize it, master it at the bottom level, and stop worrying about the latest, greatest. And, one of my friends said, hey, Claude just did this, and it went off to Claude. A month later, he came back and said, you know what? It's costing me much more to go to Claude because of the tokens. And so guess what? He's back on chat now. Or wherever you're at, they're all good. They're all supportive. Use it as a tool, not a crutch. So let me close with, I spoke to a high school audience. And I said to them, let me just tell you all, everything chat can do, I can do. Can you say that? Think about that.
Don't go away. And you can actually have questions too. Now I've got one more question for you, Al. So maybe you can answer that for me. Now, I haven't been on the dating scene for 62 years. But if I will chat, give me some hints on if I need to get into that world.
Hints you are going to get are going to be incredible.
Oh, wow. Okay. Be careful out there, Connie. You might be in jeopardy. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you being here. I want to do a little bit more commercial because there's a few things that we still didn't get to, that programs we had put on. Between Connie and I, we've been I think probably Speakers Bureau Chair between the two of us, probably about 12 or 13 years. So we've done a whole lot of programs, and I want to mention a couple of the ones that we didn't talk about. We had a couple of meetings dedicated to district winners for international, humorous, and all those sorts of things. So you could say, shall we, between us, I think one night we must have had a few people there that had accumulated as many as 8 or 9 district winning speech contests. So how to win a speech contest was one of those. Careers and professions I see on my list here. We had soapbox speeches. Now, you might have thought we were putting our lives in jeopardy by allowing people to come up and talk for 5 to 7 minutes on whatever they wanted to. And one that jumped out at me was a gentleman who did a lot of work with the words of Roundup. You know, that stuff that they spray around and their big lawsuits and all kinds of. Anyway, he was in favor of Roundup, and he told us about how much of a benefit it was. And so that was a good one. One other one was that district people might be interested in is we brought in some people from clubs that are for 15, 17 years have been President's Distinguished. What's the secret to being a President's Distinguished club on a consistent basis? So that was a good lesson for members of the audience on how to do that. We had Women's History Month. That was the one on the list here. And and the World of Books, a bunch of people who wrote. So wonderful program. Next month's meeting is going to be on the 2nd. It's always the first Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. And the flyers that should be going out to everyone in the entire new district, all 140 clubs or so, will have my contact information, phone number, and email. And if you have any questions about becoming a QS, have any questions about, as Connie mentioned, ideas for future meetings, please get to me. And I'm hoping we have contests in the fall, but sometimes in the fall, in December, if the districts choose not to have contests, we have some kind of, and I can't call them contests, we have them speech competitions where they get trophies. I'll have to admit they're recycled trophies, but we give you a real piece of copper to brass or gold or whatever it is to take home and brag about your results from that Tall Tales or something. We try the contests that people haven't been doing. So anyway, well, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the help from all those that helped put this thing on. And thank you for being here. Thank you to all the speakers. And thank you especially to the audience, because if it wasn't for the audience, we'd be talking to ourselves. Good night. See you next month.
Until next time.